South Korean delegation also in China this week to talk trade. China is South Korea's biggest trading partner. Brandon Daniels, CEO at Exiger, the AI supply chain firm, is with us now. Brandon, always good to see you. 150 billion make shipbuilding great again in this country. How important is that coming out of South Korea?
Well, Connell, it's good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Yep.
That's incredibly impactful. In fact, when you look at the shipbuilding efforts that the United States have, they cover actually the three areas of negotiations that the United States is having with South Korea at the moment, right? So first, shipbuilding is critical for our national security. It's critical for our national security because we've let our shipbuilding and our offensive capabilities lag, specifically in terms of like naval power. The second thing is expanding our capacity to fight a war in the Indo-Pacific and to project power in the Pacific is completely and utterly dependent on shipbuilding. And then finally, we've let our skill set, we've let our industry, our defense industrial base in shipbuilding dwindle. And a big push by DoD, by the federal government, actually by all federal agencies, is to re-expand the United States maritime capacity. So there's a huge economic boom that we can see happening.
Right.
And there were just officials visiting the Hanwha facility in Philadelphia, looking at how this deal between the United States and South Korea could project and increase our shipbuilding capabilities.
That's really interesting, and it is kind of fascinating why people are fascinated by economics and by geopolitics in general. So I'm thinking as you're talking about all of this, this is about a lot of things, but it's about, for example, China and Taiwan, maybe, indirectly, like the idea of ships being built and being powerful, and that's what everybody thinks about in that region, how it's all connected.
Well, Connell, it is all connected, and it has gotten more connected over the last few years.
Right.
So when you think about the Russia-Ukraine war, one of the things that Russia did is they established tighter relationships with North Korea and did sort of an exchange for troops, for cash, for technology, for energy resources. So that actually strengthened and emboldened North Korea, which is obviously South Korea's adversary just right across that demilitarized zone, right? So that negotiation with Putin is actually going to impact how North Korea is situated against South Korea. And then if you look at South Korea as a military partner, the single largest overseas base for the entire United States sits in South Korea. And then finally, maintaining a stable South Korea is important to our economy. I mean, think about them. South Korea has names that all of us know. Samsung. I'm sure you have Samsung things in your house. LG things in your house.
Right, yeah.
You may have driven a Hyundai, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are big names that trade with the United States, and so I can't kind of overestimate the importance of a strong negotiation here. And President Lee came in a really smart way, saying, "I'm here to make a deal. I'm here to really establish a stronger relationship." And people talked about, firm or not firm negotiations, or whether or not they're going to try to negotiate the 15% tariff. I think all of that is a sideshow. I think President Lee understands the criticality of this U.S.-American relationship in terms of their sustainability as a country.
Yeah, he needs it, and he knows that. Trump says he might not get everything he wants, and he probably knows that too. Brandon, thanks as always. Brandon Daniels.